ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a Black Friday edition of News from the Pew, where the internet happens and we talk about it. I am your host, Rick Barrett. You also would know me as The Armed Catholic. You can find me at thearmedcatholic.com, first class firearm training with a foundation of Catholic tradition because the two are compatible. And might I say, the Armed Catholic book makes a great stocking stuffer. It's tiny enough, it fits right in there.
Can you buy it at a mall?
What?
Can you
Could you buy it at a mall? No, you can't.
Like Books a Million?
No, you have to go corporate and go to Amazon. Sorry, folks.
But they have a Black Friday sale, so your book's on sale.
I don't know if it's on sale. It's because Amazon will do it. Amazon won't let you do promos or stuff like that.
I mean, you're going to get a quarter for every sale, but it's on sale.
Yeah. But I can't offer like a discount code. It's weird.
Yeah,
but because I'd love to do a Black Friday special.
I'll do a Black Friday special on my press, something out of 30% off. Type NFP. Don't do it right now. I got to make the code first.
Yeah, the code is don't do it. That's actually the code. Hey Lou, good to see you.
Can't breathe. Is that too early? No.
What?
Code can't breathe. No.
Yeah. No, it's okay. We're past that now. But I am freshly returned and jet lagged like you wouldn't believe. Coming from the beautiful Eternal City. It was beautiful to be in Rome for the last week. Happy to be back, but even more happy to be here with y'all and hanging out with my main guy, Steve, here.
If you talking about pizza, I could have told you there's some pizza places down the street from you, probably.
Yeah, but the pizza here is nothing, dude. It is just, it's heavy on sauce.
Did you meet the pasta queen or run into her when she was out there?
No, I didn't run. My wife loves the pasta queen, by the way. She watches all of her videos and everything.
It's a daily. She's like, we got to watch this. This is awesome.
Yeah, my wife, she sends me stuff on the pasta queen all the time.
I have to watch with a bib because I start drooling over the food because she'll look at me and go, "You like that?" I go, "That's I'm dreaming of that meal right now."
Yeah, whatever they. And sometimes I have to. Yes, I went to Rome last Thursday and I just flew back on Thanksgiving. So I was blessed to be there for 6 nights, and I enjoyed every one of them. And it was a great time. But yeah, that's where I was. Every time, the crazy thing is like with those videos, with those Instagram cooking shows, when my wife makes them and they're really good. But like halfway through, she's going, "Man, it's a lot longer." Like, honey, there's like 14 jump cuts in these. If
you got Amazon Prime, she's got 13 episodes on Prime.
Yeah, she does have it in Prime. So
I think I got the I can't remember the name. I got one memorized already how to make it. I was like, "Ooh, that was pretty easy."
Yeah. Yeah, it is pretty easy. You just put the pasta in there, put the water, and then cook.
It was good. I got the wife to a hydroponic thing in the kitchen now, so I got to fill that thing with water, get some basil to start growing. Like, yeah, there we go.
Look at you. You're gonna have your own channel, or you're gonna have Census Video and cooking soon enough.
I'm trying to get her to do it. She's actually a really good cook, so I'm trying to get her to pull it off. She watches cooking shows. Sometimes she'll a meal comes up and I go, "Was this an Instagram idea? Where'd you get this idea?" Things like that. So yeah, I'm the experimental one. Kids don't eat anything unless it's got ketchup on it. Which my kid, the day after one of them, because she goes through the 10 Commandments of Italian cooking, and I'm going, I know exactly what this is going to be. And I think number 3 was "Thou shalt not use ketchup," and I just started cracking because my Steven, he asked for ketchup on pizza one day, and then spaghetti. And I just immediately, without get out, just go.
Can't do it, man. Can't do that. That's against the law. Yeah, no ketchup on pizza, no ketchup on pasta. That's just a no-go.
Are you? I raised you wrong. Come on.
Let me tell you this quick story, folks, about being in Rome for the week before we get to this. So I as you can tell, kind of got bad allergies here in Texas. I wasn't able to get Allegra D because the federal government says you can only get so much within a month, and I blew through my allotted amount before we were able to fly over there. So I'm flying over there and I'm kind of stuffy and I getting a cough from the post-nasal drip. And my beautiful wife looks at me and just goes, "Let's go find because it's just pharmacias. That's what they're called there. You can tell because there's a big green cross. And then you walk into the pharmacias and, first 2, we didn't know any, I don't know any Italian. My wife knows Spanish, so she tries to like bridge the gap on a lot of that stuff. 3rd one we walk into, the guy looks at us, he goes, starts speaking in Italian, like English. He goes, "Okay, what?" And this is exactly like, there's like, "What?" I'm like, I got, decongestant. I just started I turned into a total American. Decongestant. He goes, okay, and he grabs this box. I didn't have to give him my license. He goes, take this for every 4 hours, and then he gives me another box. Take this to break up the mucus in the chest, and then here's 2 boxes, free boxes of cough drops. And I'm like, what? And he's like, it was $40 for decongestant, 2 free boxes of cough drops, and like a Mucinex type thing. And I'm going, now I see why people love socialized medicine. This is fantastic. And by the way, I'll look it up for the next time. The name of the drug that they gave me, it was the ingredient in the decongestant, like Sudafed and all that stuff, and ibuprofen. Best drugs I've ever had with that stuff. I was cleared up in a day. It was just like, this is amazing. No wonder you guys live longer than we do.
Going, want to get high?
Yeah, I felt like that. I was like, honey, how many these things do you think we can smuggle back into the U.S.? I don't know, before they think I'm like a meth dealer.
I totally forgot you were leaving. That when you left, I thought you were leaving I think yesterday or Wednesday.
Yeah, Steve texted me. He's like, hey, you want to do a show? I'm like, no.
Because what happened was when we go back to that pasta queen.
Yeah,
she did a thing on stuffed zucchini flowers. Which did you see? Did you have any out there? You see them out there?
I've seen a couple zucchini recipes.
This thing is you take the flowers, big flour, and there's only flowers in the morning, and you stuffed it with anchovies and a couple other ingredients, just pretty much deep fat fry. It looks like tempura shrimp in a sense. Man, I almost went, dude, you got to order that. And then I went, nah, he's not there. Yeah, you were there. I just totally forgot when.
Oh, if you told me, I would have tried to find him, man. Well, there's, I was saying one of the cool things is this is our second year in a row we went to Rome. Blessed, by the way, to do it. We're not going to go back next year because there's going to be 39 million people in the country. And I advise anybody who's thinking about going to Rome for the Jubilee year, don't. Find a basilica that'll be put in by a priest in by your bishop. There'll be there'll be one in every diocese that you can go to. Rome is crowded now. You're not going to be able to move next year. Skip it. Don't go. I'm sorry. It may not be great advice, but do not go during the Jubilee year. You'll be miserable. I promise. So
I'll take your word on it. I wasn't planning on going anyways.
Yeah. So it's just
I don't want to go 5 minutes away from the house, much less 5 time zones.
One of life's greatest mysteries is, does Steve actually leave the house?
About 4 times a week. Yeah.
Church, obviously.
Go to mass on Sunday. It's 1. Well, actually, that might be 5 now. Go to the gym 3 times a week, and that was at 4. We'll go down to the park, which is about 5 minutes away. So maybe a little.
No, it doesn't count if it's 5 minutes away, bro. Doesn't count. You actually have to like
4 or 5 times. Max. Yeah. Like today, I was already out. I'll go ahead and go get the milk. So I'm already out. There's days I don't leave. Yeah.
But yeah, hey, I would do that too. I've done that a bunch of times. So yeah, I was able to go. Food's amazing. Obviously, the food's great. Taxis are pretty fine. You can pretty much pick it up pretty quick. Walk to the top of St. Peter's Dome. You can do the Dome of St. Peter where you go all the way to the top. Yeah. If you ever plan to go to Rome and you want to do that, they're going to tell you can either take the stairs or the elevator. Because they're like, oh, if you take the elevator, it's an extra 300 steps, folks, if you take the elevator. But the hallway is about this big when you're walking it up. There's no room to move. And it curves with the dome as you're walking up it. So you get a little bit of messed up. But the view is obviously worth it. But people don't tell you that. They're like, oh, yeah, just take the elevator. And then it's like a couple of steps. No, it's 300 steps to get to the top.
It's a couple. So it's like
it is. So, but I can talk about.
Hey, what's this butter here for? It's to butter your butt up so we can get you up there.
There's a certain weight class that cannot go up there. So so you can feel comfortable about that because there ain't no fatties at the top of the dome because they won't make it.
Yeah.
So, Anyway,
must be this small to get through, or you can take.
it's kind of like it's like those doors at the monasteries. Like if you get too fat, you can't go to breakfast because the door is only so big. Same thing. If you're a little bit, you know, if you're a little bit big, you can't go to the top of the dome.
You stand in the stall and you're like, there's somebody out there going, man, that monk is holy. He hasn't moved in 10 hours. In reality, he's stuck.
Yeah, he's stuck, man. He'll eventually get there, man. So you almost walked up the entire. I've never. Why is that really like a lot? I don't know. Like the top of Bunker Hill, is it like a? That's obviously in Boston. Is it like a trail you have to do? How many steps is it? Or how many stairs? Like when you go to the escalator, it's like 300 steps to get to where the elevator is, and then it's an additional 300 steps up to the top.
We went to the last weekend at Yankee Stadium. We're back, 2008, something like that, or is it 2009, 2010? I forget the year. Anyway, they said my brother goes, let's walk to the top. We're the upper deck. And I don't know if you've been to Yankee Stadium. Most like incline like this. Yankee Stadium, it's incline like that. You look up.
Yeah.
That's up there. And you're like, I might be able to get up there. I don't know if I can get back down.
There was a person that was about halfway up. They started stopping, and my wife and I there's only one way out. There's the only way out. You can't turn around and go back down. This is not like a ride at Disney where you get like a break off point at one point. There's an emergency. The only way out is going up to the top and then going back down the stairs. You can't turn around because the people behind you are going to be like, nope, you got to keep going. So it's a commitment to actually do it. So, but that was a lot of fun, and I can talk about that.
Cannoli in front of you, and then you can get up.
Dude, don't talk about cannolis, man. They're fantastic. Don't insult cannolis like that, right? I mean, they're delicious. Delicious.
That would make my sixth trip if I have to go out somewhere. Like,
if you actually, yeah, but that is that's just some stuff just from last week. So it was a good time, and I'm blessed to be able to go. But now I'm back and happy to be here, folks, talking with y'all on this. Hope you all, I know Steve doesn't believe in this, but I'll be nice. I hope you all had a good Thanksgiving. I know Steve does not believe in Thanksgiving. He thinks it's stupid. And that's okay because we love Steve. But I hope you did have a nice modernity Thanksgiving, got the ability to spend time with your family and friends. Hopefully your family and friends were around and you didn't have any terrible political battles at your table because, the almighty Trump won and their God candidate lost. And by the way, we don't have that video, but Kamala is now just fully embracing her drunk era where she's just going to get in front of TVs and she doesn't even pretend anymore that she doesn't drink. She's just going to be like, she was drunk on this one. Next one, she's going to have a glass of Hennessy just next to her because she's going to at least let her get sponsored for these drunken rants. So, yeah. Oh, John Kennedy knows what I'm talking about. He did the climb. That's what I'm talking about, my man. Let me just ask this. John, did you take the elevator or did you go the whole way up on the stairs? Let us know. Anyway, but we don't have that video. I'm sure you've seen it around. Kamala just absolutely got wasted.
The fake videos have been best.
Oh man, the one with the Hennessy, so good. But
we won't play it. But yeah,
we won't play it. But you can go find it.
And then you see her just getting loaded. Then she's dancing on a pole.
I mean, it is perfection. The way she's just gonna keep giving us gifts if she's just gonna be like that because we got like another 3 months of her just being completely useless. So she might as well, make our lives a little bit better by doing this.
You brought up the Thanksgiving thing. I saw McClanahan put out a couple of things. Him and Gutsman were talking about it because they were like Brian said something about I get this heat from people about Florida all the time. He goes, but let's just stick in the colonies wise. He goes, it's really Virginia. And he goes, but either way, Florida, Virginia. He goes, it's not the point. We're both Southern in a sense. He goes, as long as it's not Massachusetts. And he goes, the Pilgrim, and that's what he talked about the Pilgrims doing it to eradicate Christmas as a way to kind of punch Christmas in the face. We don't do Christmas, so we're going to do this.
Yeah.
So that was the original. I had a couple of people hate me for saying that. I'm going, dude. And like one guy telling me we need to baptize this. I go, we have that. It's called Martin Mass. We think they got the turkey from. It's from the goose, the Martin's goose. But we forget what history is in our own faith sometimes. So,
well, it's just easier because you get a day off with Thanksgiving. You don't get a day off with Martimus. So
Yeah.
it's
Well, it's because we're a Puritan, Yankee Puritan empire.
yeah,
Yep.
we are Protestant work ethic type of people. With
The Puritan mercantile work ethic that came in that was forced upon. I'm reading this book of Reconstruction that the Kennedy twins put together. Man, you talk about not on the 3x5 card. You'll learn some stuff you've never learned and heard about. And there's citations on top of citations on top of citations. The citations have citations. And they talk about how it was the Union League. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of the Union League before. It was the original. You want to hear about all the stories you heard about the Klan? That's the Union League that started. They were burning stuff down in the South long before the Klan even got together. And they say that the Klan was in response to the Union League. They would take people and bring them up north to indoctrinate them in the work attitude, and then send them back down to the South, pretty much like a cancerous poison to spread the idea all over the South. That's not including when the governor is going, here everyone, burn this down. And as they said, matches were cheap back then. And anyways, it's just amazing that you read some of this stuff going, we see the fallout from all this today. This work. We don't treat anybody with respect. The Fridays, beating each other up at the malls type deal thing, all the special. We got to run in there. We got to work until we fall over. It's all about the bottom line. Forget about agrarianism. We're just going to do it this way. The empire-ish mindset. It's, man, you start reading some of this stuff back in the 1860s. Yeah, it's eye-opening. And he took the elevator. Yeah.
Well, that's what I did too. So that's why I'm giving the thumbs up. But it is, the idea of the work week post-industrial revolution, it's two totally different worlds that people don't understand, because we've grown up with nothing but examples of the Industrial Revolution. We've been taught everything from how our schools are set up. The schools are set up to train kids to be good little factory workers. And those schools haven't evolved. That's why you sit in a place for an hour, you ring, and then you walk to your next place. You sit in a place for an hour, then it rings, and you go to your next place. And that's why I teach them to do that beforehand. You realize this because my homeschoolers out there will be like, well, I taught my kid the entire school year curriculum in 6 months, teaching them 1 hour a day. And that was the entire I did in 6 months. And you could really do you could do all of that. You could teach all of the academic stuff that schools supposedly do 8 to 12 and be done in 6 months and not have to worry about your kid falling behind. Your kid will actually be ahead. But the entire Industrial Revolution messed all that up. Then you have the ideas of capitalism and the work for it and making sure that everybody has access to it, the breakup of the family through capitalism and the liberation movement, women working outside of the home to compete with men. So yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous how you can trace what you said, and it just continues to just go down.
You'll read that in the Reconstruction book that they went after the traditional families and the traditional ways of living. And because if you hear about people like in the Great Depression, for example, if people lived on farms, if you hear any of those interviews, they're like, what depression? We had no idea there was a depression happening, because they were living off the land. They lived off the farm. They didn't have, they weren't worried about the banks in the sense, but that was what won this destruction of everything, the old ways in the South, to put in that the big banks, the big industry, the big this, the big that. That mindset came in, and that's what we're living with today.
It's even worse now. It's even worse now because there's no counter to it. At least at the beginnings, you still had the faith and people grounded in that, and that's what guided their lives. Now, the pursuit of money and the individual is the guiding principle everybody lives by. And that's why they're so busy stepping on each other and trying to make sure they can make as much. And both parents work outside the home to try and make as much to bring in, even though when you do that, it actually costs more in the long run and blah, blah, blah. And so it's capitalism and the dirty little secret, and I read this article a couple years ago, I wish I'd saved it, is that capitalism and communism are two sides of the same coin. It's just who controls the means of production that everybody's going after. Now, libertarians and everybody who believe in capitalism will say it's great that, the free market does it. The dirty little secret is we don't live in a free market. So the idea that
just came out with one on upset about the banning of lab meat, saying, "Oh, well, have to have the market do it." If like you read Garcia Moreno, when that stuff went down like that with the there was an earthquake happening and people were jacking up the prices of water, he publicly flogged the guys that were jacking the prices up. He said that went fine because you have to have some morality and stuff like this. But it was funny you brought that up about the faith and all. One of the local stations, WBT, I think it was, put out a documentary on Helene just a couple of days ago, and they were interviewing people up there, and they were talking about just they interviewed this one couple. They're about 75, 80 years old, just sitting there. They're thankful that their lives are spared. They lost everything, and he mentions they're happy. And she mentions about talking about we lost all this stuff, but we still have our faith. And they talk about all everyone talking about how their faith is getting them through, even though yes they are proddies, but they're all believing in God's will, and this is divine intervention that's happening. God, we see God's work in all this stuff, and people bringing together, and they're all joyful, even though they've lost everything. The FEMA people are pretty much just poo-pooing on them because they said they had 500, homes by now, and they only have 14, wherever that. And they're pretty much grabbing their land because they now deemed every part of their place a flood zone, so they can't put tiny homes on it because it's 30 degrees out and snowing right now, and they have to live in tents with a little heater about yay big that you put some stove in. And by the way, let them go. And only you see the big names, only you see Fox News talking about these guys at all. But yeah, I mean, you part down below that Mason-Dixon line, you'll see way stronger. There's a stronger faith there, and they have a little thing in the book talking about how in this section of the Union was three or four times higher in religious practice, people going to churches, going to service, etc., than the rest of the land. I mean, it wasn't even close. And you kind of see that through society, anyways, how people act.
Yeah. Real quick, Miss female KC Royal fan from Nebraska, communism is anti-God. What part of capitalism promotes God? You're asking me.
I think Marx said that.
You're asking if you've never heard of capitalism being anti-God. Fine. Give me an example of capitalism being pro-God. Because the last time I checked, capitalism enables things like surrogacy, which is the renting out of another person's womb, which is human trafficking. Capitalism is the kind of thing where women are encouraged to go out of the home to get jobs. Oh, oops, you got knocked up. Kill your baby so you can go back to work and make more money. Okay, so capitalism, and I get it. We all hear the stuff of it lifts everybody out of poverty. There's a lot of people in poverty right now. You may not see them, but a lot of people are living barely paycheck to paycheck. They've been working very hard at it, especially the last couple of years, especially as we've been sending a gazillion dollars over to the Ukraine and to everybody else while people are over here and suffering. And the fact is, there's a small group of people, and I know I'm starting to sound like, the Young Turks and all these other idiots, but unfortunately it's kind of the truth. There's a small amount of people with access to all of the actual finances that are out there, whether they're big banks, whether they're corporations, capitalism has destroyed your little towns with Walmart because Walmart can get cheaper prices from China. And so the idea, the free market capitalism, the stuff that everybody wants to brag about here in the US, it's just a different form of communism. Communism just has the stupid idea of producing everything in-house, where their stuff is crap, where we get better crap because we get it from China made for 50 cents an hour and then putting it on a boat and sending it back so we can buy it at Walmart. What are we doing today? We're talking on Black Friday, which is a celebration of buying stuff that you don't need at a cheaper rate so you can give it to somebody so they'll throw it away sometime mid-January. And are we we're talking about Christmas time. Steve, is it Christmas time yet? Or what's the first Sunday? What's this Sunday going to be?
Advent.
Yes, we're not talking about Advent time. We're talking about Christmas time. Why are we talking about Christmas time? Because capitalism is promoting Christmas time. Most Catholics don't even understand what Advent is, but they do know Mariah Carey's come on because Thanksgiving, everybody just ate their turkey, so you can defrost Mariah Carey and start playing that for the next 30 days. And as soon as the 25th of December hits, oh, okay, now it's January, and we don't know what to do because we don't know that Christmas time actually started now because we're not categorized properly. I'm not even going to say the word. Y'all know what I'm saying. Because capitalism has replaced the church.
We just got
it may not be anti-God, but it ain't pro-God.
We just got fact checked. Mariah Carey started singing a couple days ago, actually.
She got de-iced early. I was in a different country. I don't know. I leave the country and y'all broke the code. Y'all broke the code on that. So, all right. This is not a commendation on Mariah Carey, okay? I'm just saying. That was an example before y'all come at me in the comments about Mariah.
Everybody listening, please buy Rick the Mariah Carey Christmas album.
Oh, you don't have to. My wife has already bought it, so I'm already listening to it, which is why I don't mind it. But I'm trying to say, like,
wait a minute. Did you get any Lucci dolls?
No Luce dolls in sight.
Just get back over there.
I know, dude. I went to the Vatican. I went all over the place. I went every single Catholic shop. I went in there. Not a single Luce doll. I was visibly sad faced when and my wife went, "Oh, we'll find one." I'm like, they don't have Luce. What are we doing?
Go all the way to Rome. You don't bring back a Lucci doll.
I want it. I literally told my wife to leave enough room in a suitcase for 4. I wanted to at least bring 4 of them back. And I didn't get one. I didn't get one of them. They had all these stupid keychains and they had all these other stupid things for the Jubilee year. But did they have Luce? They didn't. And so that's my cry room. Is the fact that the Vatican didn't have Luce. You already know my cry room. No Luce. Denied. To talk from Wayne's World. No Stairway. Denied.
Since you brought up Christmas and I brought up North Carolina, here's Joe Brandon talking about the tree they ended up taking out. Helene didn't take it out, but Brandon did.
Beautiful Fraser fir was grown at the Cartner's Christmas tree farm, where the Cartner family has been growing trees for more than 60 years. And their farm is nestled in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina, a region that was recently devastated by Hurricane Helene. The Cartner family lost thousands of trees in the storm, but this one remained standing, and they named it Tremendous for the extraordinary hope that it represents.
Way to cut that bad boy down.
It's an honor to be here today with Congresswoman Virginia Foxx, as well as members.
Oh, that thing made Helene? We'll take care of
that. This one lived, but like everything else, FEMA came and killed it. So we got to bring it back to the White House. Yes, I am salty because there's no Luce. Yes, they were tone deaf. But that's just that literally just sums up the entire Biden regime in 4 years. Hey, this thing survived a hurricane, so we cut it down and brought it here. So
here's just in case you don't believe us on the FEMA thing.
FEMA won't let you put a trailer on a piece of ground that is considered flood prone. Well, all these people are out of their houses because they got flooded, right?
Yeah, yes, sir. That's correct. So again, we started running into this a couple of weeks ago, and we started making phone calls and calling everybody, knocking on representatives' doors and trying to get some answers of why these places can't have tiny homes or FEMA trailers, we even got a text back from our Speaker of the House that said, they can apply for grants. These people are so far out of touch with what's going on. Senator Ted Budd, we did get in touch with him. And within 24 hours, he got something on the president's desk addressing this very topic. So here's what we got. The floodplain has, this is a 1,000-year flood. So the topographical map shows, Ezra maps show the floodplain lines. Well, there is rules in place. I spoke with the state fire marshal an hour ago to get some clarity. there's rules in place that say that you can't put these trailers on floodplain property. Well, everything up there is now considered floodplain. And what a lot of people don't understand is the rivers that were 100-foot wide, now they're 600-foot wide in some places. So people not only lost their homes, but they lost the land that their homes were on. It's down to bedrock.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, like, if you set up a GoFundMe because nobody was showing up, or if you took donations, FEMA's like, yeah, you don't get any stuff. Now they're bragging like, we're going to send them 35 trailers in 2025. And everybody's going, what do you mean 2025? They're like, yes, in 2025, they'll be getting their trailers. Is that going to be summer? Are they all going to be dead after the winter? Like, what is the plan with that?
He's exactly right. Why ask permission? Just do it. The correct response is go pound sand. We're putting up a thing here because we don't want to freeze. Here's Shenandoah right now. Well, it was yesterday, but they have, it's 30 degrees.
Yeah.
What is snowing?
This is not a warm area.
I'm sorry?
It's not a warm area.
No. It was 31 for a high in Boone today with 6 inches of snow. And so it's not like, and the tents they gave, I mean, there was a report. If I would have kept playing that news report, he would have gone on and said that he's heard of people like this one lady cooking and having to fend off a bear because the bear came to their tent because they're outside in the elements with the food and how else you can eat. Because I mean, they've been living in a tent for 2 months, and just think about your bathroom in a sense. That's how big these tents are. I mean, you can get some big tents, but come on.
Yeah,
he's 100% right. Why they ask for permission, I do not know. That mindset up in there is the same mindset I have. I don't know why they're even considering asking. Just, hey, Daddy Government, can I not freeze tonight? No. Here, I'm putting this here, and if you come at us, I think Rick wrote a book about what you should do. Probably. I mean, those guys aren't going to mess around.
Your home, you know. I mean, no. An unjust law is not worthy of being
Get
followed.
off my lawn. Get off my bedrock.
The joke is, and I'll find this for next time, we can put it in the rotation. There's a funny meme within or video in the gun community where a couple guys dress up as ATF agents and they're out in the woods and they're like, "Hey man, you got a tax stamp for that thing?" And the guy yells back, "Are those level 4 plates?" And they go, "We got to go at it. We got to go." Because the guy's like, "Those are level 4 plates, right?" And they go, "Yeah, we got to get out of here." That's pretty much what you got to ask the question of. So it is what it is in that regard.
Well, on the act locally, think locally idea, here's I don't know who that is. Some state senator in New York, which, hey, I am all for. Get this woman a makeover and a medal. Democrat.
Give her a makeover. Hey, easy there, buddy. Easy. Don't be shaming. We don't shame people for their looks here on News from the Pew.
I'll slap my own hand.
We'll just make fun of everybody else.
But the dumb thing was they should join Canada? Question mark. I'm like, why would you join Canada?
Why would you leave the U.S.? Why would you leave New York to go to Canada? That's probably the dumbest. That's such a New York thing.
Whoa! Time out. You want to join what now? I mean,
you want to go where?
Just do the whole Northeast, and you're fine. You don't have to go to Canada.
Yeah, you know, there's also a secession movement brewing in Illinois, where everybody's voting to just secede from Cook County. Yeah. Honestly, at this point, there needs to be a movement in these United States where we need to return to the city-state motto. Like, if a county has more than 1 million people in it, it needs to just secede and be its own state.
I mean, it
should just be the state of Chicago.
Yeah,
that's what it should be.
Well, here's one. We talked about. I'm bringing up the Kennedy brothers. I've been devouring their book, Red State, Red Country, Secession. They bring up a thing about, like, say Georgia bans abortion, but Atlanta doesn't like it. Atlanta can become the state of Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you have to do. You don't have to say the rest of Georgia wants this. The state of Atlanta doesn't want this. The state of Atlanta can leave Georgia. There you go. We created another state. Now, again, it goes back into converting people afterwards. Another state news related thing, Florida is looking. I'm waiting for I'm waiting for prices to go down for Florida. Was it 2 weeks ago they talked about getting rid of fluoride in the water, and just this week, Florida Republican lawmakers just filed legislation to ban weather engineering. Obviously, this has come after because of the Hurricane Milton and a little bit of Helene that hit them down there back to back, 2 weeks out or whatever, 3 weeks in between. But I'm talking, holy cow, yes, good on Florida. Hey, we're banning they've banned so far CBDC. They're looking to ban fluoride in the water. They're looking to ban geoengineering in the sky. I know people are leaving Florida because of insurance right now and because of stuff. I'm looking to go when prices go down with the stuff.
He's trying to negotiate a trade. Like, you want to move to his house in South Carolina, he'll just move to yours, and you'll just.
Well, I'm renting, so it's not like a fair trade. I don't own anything, but I would take somebody. Hey,
shush! I'm trying to help you here, buddy. Come on, you don't have to tell him that. Golly. You're killing me here, bro.
It would definitely help my plants. I mean, I don't have to worry about putting some stuff over there at night and get the citrus going a little bit better.
Steve will do your new citrus
I would
magnet.
go to Florida tomorrow if I had the chance that they could do all this stuff down. Tennessee has banned it over a certain ceiling. They still do it over. I think it's over 15,000 feet or something like that. They banned something. It's kind of weird. But there have been other states that banned CBDC. Michigan just 2 weeks ago, they did that.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Hey, all for it. If you can, and that's the thing coming down, because I know we've talked about it many times that you will get CBDC from this administration. Hey, look what's going on with Elon.
Well, that's what Elon wants it, man. The X app.
Yep.
He wants it all to be on X.
We'll do bank. This is from the Dodge design, whatever you call it. X payments will do the banks what Tesla did to Legacy Auto. Isn't that good? Whitney Webb is a great one. Letting your social media site become your bank is not really innovative. It is a way to dupe people into even more centralized, that's the key word for everything, control over their finances. Powers everything. If your X account gets banned, and on top of it, do you need an X account to now be able to spend money? Kind of like having a cell phone. You will not only be depersoned from the site, you'll be debanked, voluntarily supporting the formation of Everything app, which this Musk has been trying to do for a while. Is a very slippery slope. Limit your dependence on any platform. You should limit your dependence on any of that. I mean, again, You're not going to hear that from a lot of other people on that one. Elon has been on record saying he wants CBDC and is for climate carbon taxes, which.
Yeah, well, everybody's in love with him because, he helped Trump and blah, blah, blah. The good guys, great, whatever, Twitter.
Wolf in sheep clothing, was they said.
Speaking of which, everybody thinks X is this great, big, open, free platform. It's really fine. It's better than a lot. I know Facebook has just banned Smith & Wesson, and there's not a lot of great other websites. I guess X is the best of the bad bunch, which I don't know if you want to talk about it that way. But the fact is, the guy he's a he's into technocracy. Was he a technocrat? Is that the word?
Technocrat. Yeah, technocrat.
Yeah, he's a technocrat.
World Economic Forum technocrat. By the way, most of the people on the Trump thing are World Economic Forum and young youth leaders or something like that. They're all in it.
Yeah, Tulsi's y'all girls. Tulsi's in that. They're all in it. Elon's in it, and so
most of Trump's family is.
Real quick, what would New Hampshire do if it was surrounded by Canada? It would just invade Canada and take it because they got more guns than Canada. So I'm not worried about that.
Well, New Hampshire is a bunch of people that they want to live free. I mean, that's their motto. The governor of New Hampshire, somebody wanted him to run for Congress, and his response was no. And they asked him why. He goes, because I can do a lot more as governor of New Hampshire than I can as a congressman in D.C. Those guys get it. There's a secessionist movement in New Hampshire along with Texas. They were on Dr. Phil a couple months ago talking about that. So again, and that goes back, if anybody goes, holy cow, that's the first 3 or 4 secession movements were all Northeastern. Started in the 1790s with the Northeast going with a couple guys going up to John Taylor Carrollton saying, we want out. This is nuts what's going on. We don't like this at all. That was 10 years.
Ironically enough, the North was the first one to get out. The North was the first one to talk to the feds like this.
Hey, is that legal? Those level 4 plates? Yeah, we need to know. Okay.
Well, New Hampshire, you'd be, how many people they got living up there? I mean, that's a
it's
country.
actually pretty. It's as close to the way the founders envisioned representative government as far as how many people per representative than mostly any other state at this point.
Yeah, they'll be fine. It's the scare thing is, oh, they'll get invaded. They're not going to get invaded. It's just like the fear thing. It's like
too many
cold.
mountains.
You don't put your muzzle on, you're going to get the cold, or you're going to get you can't do this. You're going to get. There's so many ifs and buts for candy and nuts. We'd all have a Merry Christmas. You can't live in what if land. But yeah, if they break off, great. I think Belize is smaller. That's a by itself. I mean. We all think bigger is better. You don't have to be big. What's the not Hong Kong? Is it Hong Kong? Yeah, Hong Kong.
Yeah, Hong Kong used to be of China.
Yeah.
Hong Kong was its own independent nation because it was run by the British.
Yeah,
it was a colony.
It was doing great. I mean, and there's a
couple
couple
a lot better than it is now.
Yeah, there's a couple of examples of they were small, they were tiny, they were
Liechtenstein. There's a couple of those in Eastern Europe that are tiny but very, very prosperous.
It's just that common mindset. And here we talked about Denver, but here's Rand Paul telling the Denver mayor to be worried.
If he's going to resist federal law, which there's a long-standing history of the supremacy of federal law, if he's going to resist that, it will go all the way to the Supreme Court. And I would suspect that he would be removed from office. I don't know whether or not there'd be a criminal prosecution for someone resisting federal law, but he will lose. And people need to realize that what he is offering is a form of insurrection where the states resist the federal government. Most people objected to that and rejected that long ago. So I think the mayor of Denver is on the wrong side of history.
It's funny how the left is getting into federalism and the right is going, no, you got to keep the empire, which they are the party of Lincoln. They wanted the empire. They fought the thing for power and empire. So you can't stand up. Now, again, the Denver mayor cannot tell the state of Colorado, they're not going to, he has to obey the state of Colorado. So, and he can't, he has literally like no authority. His sheriff could. The mayor has nothing. The mayor has like no power except for Denver. So.
I mean, I'm actually against the idea of the military at this point. Before anybody calls me blah 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 blah. I mean, if you really wanted to use, when you're thinking about it, and I heard this on a podcast this morning. I was driving. I was doing some errands. Your U.S. Marshals are probably better equipped to do close quarter CQB stuff with like gang members than your average infantry guy, right? Those guys are not used to doing that kind of stuff. And I think I'd rather have the U.S. Marshals carry out something like this than to bring in the military. I'm still for rounding these suckers up and getting them out of the country because they're here illegally. I am not as gung-ho on using the military to do that because of the precedent it would set. What?
Very slippery slope. The next regime could use it against us.
That's why I'm saying if you use the U.S. Marshals, it's a law enforcement agency. They're breaking the law. You can use that, or even CB. Customs and Borders has their own militarized divisions that can do these kinds of things. I don't think people understand one thing about the mass deportations. Once you round up the worst of the worst, the million plus, and you boot them out, you don't have a lot of dudes are going to run for the door. I think there's going to be a lot of self-deportations once they actually see that this stuff's actually happening. I think a lot of people think that they're just going to sit there. There's going to be a lot of people that are like, this ain't worth it. I'm out of here. If deportations are actually starting to be enforced under the law. It happened the first time under Trump when he started just the threat of the Remain in Mexico policy. People started bolting for the door. All you got to do is round up and physically show 1 million to 2 million. And we're talking about the actual criminals, the gang members, all of those guys being rounded up and sent out. Then everybody else is going to be like, nope, not really worth it. I don't care. Did you see this in Maryland, in Frederick, Maryland? The mayor of Frederick, Maryland is going to take taxpayer money to set up a defense for illegals. Like, this is nuts that even after this election, which I get because at the local level, Democrats absolutely smoked everybody. It's just everybody's so happy about Trump. that they still feel comfortable using this kind of money to support this agenda. And the fact that and Steve, part of me believes that the left wants this showdown with Trump because they think that will help them in the long run, perception wise.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I like the mindset, the target, I guess, that they're wanting to use is not the smartest, I guess, in a sense. I can also see them just being played into the hands of the centralists, somehow squashing any remaining idea of nullification that remains, which they did a number on it, and obviously in 1865. Which, I mean, you read anything on that, they talk about the original Constitution. It's over. We've now created an empire, and it's the whole one nation centralized idea, Yankee empire, as they call it, with Puritans behind it. So yeah, I mean, it could, again, this is that party that did all that. So, and not saying the Democrats are the other party. They are not even close to what the Democrats of old were. They were Democrats before 1865 were the conservatives. These are not that. These are a different mutated force or something like this. So please don't get that confused on that. But that other party is the same thing that grew out of that. Where you get FDR, you get not FDR, where you get everybody that comes up and just grows the government. And even Reagan in the 80s, in 8 years, did not slow anything down. Everything grew under that.
I mean, you could also say with Reagan, you got gun control, no fault divorce. You got a bunch of stuff that was not great culturally for the
McLennan has a video of why care about why does the 1990s matter? And if anybody's listened to Ripperger's thing on the greatest generation, talks about the World War II generation. He talks about how they weren't the greatest generation, and those the people that the kids that came from them were just, you get the hippies and things like that. Well, he brings it to a next level. You got the hippies of this. What did those kids do? What did the kids of those guys do? Then you get to the grunge guys, where they didn't care about what they look like. They didn't care about what the property looked like. They didn't care about anything besides, they looked the part. And then you get the kids after those guys. What do they? They don't care about anything. They got these emotional, just yelling about anything, stomping their feet, getting mad about this. What you see today, you get the coloring books in schools. You need a puppy session. You got some lady outside yelling to the sky because DJT gets elected. You got it's terror over monuments and things like that. I mean, Hillary Clinton was she was a daughter of those type of people, and when she talked about how marriage was like a prison in a sense. You were in a prison mindset in her mind.
What's that, Gloria Steinem? The Gloria Steinem mindset? Yeah. She's the lawyer, the feminist, the big feminist lawyer.
So you brought up society. I was thinking that because it goes from here to here to here to here, and it just gets exponentially worse. Then you get obviously the schools. We had a couple weeks ago. You had Oklahoma talking about mandating the Bible back into all their schools. People immediately probably went, yeah. If you don't, then you could step back and think, okay, which Bible? Who's teaching it? Kind of like South Carolina, they did a thing when they mandated all those colleges to teach the founding documents, which again, a lot of conservatives probably would go, especially people on Fox News. Yeah, do it. Who's teaching the people? Who's teaching those kids? Lefties. More than not, you're going to have lefty progressives in the teaching profession. So what are they teaching? You might as well not be teaching it. If you're going to have these rabid neo-Marxists teaching the kids this. Same thing with those schools. I mean, the problem is another problem with schools, which is secession from the Department of Education schools. Start your own homeschool thing, work on that, and focus on your attention on one centralized. You got a centralized idea. You're centering on one kid, 2 kids, 3 kids, not 30 or 40. And you don't get educated at all, or you come out, how would you say, since they have mush brains and they're easily propagandized like we all were, they don't come out as neo-Marxists after school. So yeah, You have Whoopi.
What we're all saying is we're going to sit and watch. We're going to wait and see because we can't do anything else except.
I'm not going to wait and see. I mean, this guy's
What
told
are you
us he's a retribution. He's going to be a dictator.
doing? Like, there's nothing to be done until you know what you're fighting. It's pissing in the wind doesn't help. You just get a wet face.
But I have no. What I'm saying is, I have no false expectations.
MSNBC is being sold because NBC doesn't want to be associated with MSNBC. Watch The View be up next. They're gonna cancel that thing just because they're.
Yeah, you know that The View actually falls under the news division.
You're kidding.
No, that's why they have to offer those retractions and that's why they have to be careful. It's not an opinion show. It's not labeled as like a variety show like Late Night with Jimmy Kimmel. So that's why Jimmy can say all these stupid things. That falls under the comedy entertainment umbrella, which gives them more slack. The View falls under the news division. So that's why Whoopi's out there being like, you gotta be careful. Also, Whoopi's, she was at one time actually a sensible person before all these things went about. And she may understand, like, hey, our ratings are in the toilet. That's why people like Bill Maher or Jon Stewart are all starting to do the greatest pivot in the history of pivots, where they're like, oh, wow, we always thought that Trump wasn't totally bad and that, Democrats are being dumb. 3 weeks ago, they all thought Trump was going to get the doors blown off his campaign. Now they're all come around to it because they realize, listen, right now the shtick is, and I've been telling this to people for 5, 6, however many years I've been doing media or these types of shows. The pendulum swings. Mm-hmm. It goes both ways. The Democrats never understand this. So when it swings their way, they push too hard, thinking that it'll never swing back. And guess what? Republicans are just as stupid because it's swinging our way right now. And people are going to push it. They're going to get complacent. They're going to let all this stuff happening because they don't think. You can hear people, it's going to take like 10 years for the Democrats to dig out of this. It's going to take them one cycle. They probably won't do the midterms because they just laid off. They just laid off 2/3 of the Democratic staff. This with no severance pay, nothing because they're broke. So maybe not these midterms, but by 2028, they'll be ready to go again, and they'll have a brand new message. They're floating out AOC at this point. They're floating out names to see which one sticks and which ones don't. They'll be ready for something. So
and that's probably what the video
so stupid that they're like, Republicans are going to dominate for the next 10 years. What are you smoking? How has that ever happened?
And that's probably when the video of Cackles came out because everyone was saying, she's the front runner, which was like, was this crazy?
She's the only one anybody's name. That's the only name they know.
But I mean, that's exactly. I mean, before the selection happened, they were saying, they're never going to have any more elections after this. It's the end of democracy. All that. What happened the day after? We got to get ready for 2026. Got to get ready for 2028. Got to get the vote out. Got to do that. If you didn't believe it then, all of a sudden now you believe it now. Well, yeah. Here's Lindsey Graham on his little flip flops.
Legitimate complaint in our eyes, and would ask the ICC to investigate. You can find yourself in The Hague if you have a scorched earth policy. So the world is watching you. To hold one of the most vicious people on the planet,
you people
finally accountable.
You need to shut up until you get rid of this guy.
Enough of the murder. Enough of destruction.
The reason why I played that is that's what he said about Vlad. Now the ICC's come out, and by the way, the Holy Father called out the whole, hey, we got to investigate the genocide that's going on.
Everybody who says, and listen, not a Francis supporter, but when the guy says something right, none of you idiots are anywhere to be found.
Well, notice
none of you morons are anywhere to be found when the guy says something right. The guy trips over his words one time. He got 15 YouTube videos about it. But when the guy says something correct, you're like, broken clock's right twice a day.
You're not going to see the Zionist journalists talk about it either. But here's Lindsey talking about the ICC.
What, you're not going to see Jack Posebic talk about that? You're not going to be rosary toting Jack Posebic and all his little merry band of well-wishers and butt sniffers that all, run behind him. Jack, where's your book? Can I have your book, Jack, so I can promote your book? Oh, Jack, you're so smart. Ugh.
All right, well, here's Lindsey about the ICC going after her most favored nation.
Any ally, Canada, Britain, Germany, France, if you try to help the ICC, we're going to sanction you.
Well, that means I want every ally, and you saw little Justin in
Canada in
his position. What should the penalty be?
We should crush your economy because we're now.
You don't side with Benny, the terrorist. We're going to crush your economy. But he did. With Vladimir, we got to go after him.
Hey, you got to give the Italians one thing. They were like, hey, if Netanyahu comes into Italy, we're going to arrest him. So,
yeah.
I mean, that was pretty cool, pretty base. But I mean, they won't arrest any of the illegal migrants that are flooding through their shores, but they'll arrest him. So I guess it's selective enforcement. But
do we need to play the Tucker makes Rick Barrett look good video?
Tucker does what every other influencer that's successful is, which is listen to me 4 years ago and then finally use what I've been saying.
That the people who have hated Trump for 8 years and run out of ways to destroy him, indicting him, well, first calling him a racist, spying on him with the federal intel agencies, sicking the FBI on him, trying to put him in prison, then trying to kill him at least twice, probably more, actually, but at least twice. And that those people, out of options, have decided the only way to stop Trump and the disclosure that a Trump administration will bring, once again, disclosure is what they fear, having their crimes revealed, that the only way to stop Trump is with a world war. And so I've been pretty fixated on that for months, probably more than a year. I've just thought a lot about it. And I know a lot of the people involved, and they're very, very, very focused on war. Permanent Washington doesn't care about domestic policy, in case your viewers, I'm sure, know this, but just want to restate it. They don't care about domestic policy. They don't care about fixing the country, closing the borders, ending the drug crisis, getting the cartels out of, the entire Southwest. They don't care about that. What they care about is exercising power abroad, killing people because it makes them feel like God, and making money. And that's where the money is, trillions of dollars. So they care about foreign policy. And I have been concerned and remain concerned that that group of people, which is basically everyone.
Soldiers from the UK, Croatia, and Romania are taking part today alongside U.S. soldiers.
Do you expect that Russia knows what's going on today?
Absolutely.
How do they watch?
From all different means. I mean, open source collection, for sure. Social media, anything that is advertised. I mean, from the NATO side, we message very well what our capabilities are and how frequently we are practicing them for that purpose.
NATO, who was originally made to go for peace, is now.
NATO was created to prevent World War III. Now it's going to start it. So,
by the way, you never have any world wars if you don't centralize anything.
Who said a while ago that they would let Trump back in and let Trump do whatever he wants domestically because they don't care about the domestic stuff as long as they get to continue to blow stuff up overseas? That was your boy who said that at least 6 months ago. So I don't know what Tucker's talking about because I only came up with that six to 8 months ago. So thank you, Tucker. At least source me next time you come up with that stuff. Because I said they'll start a hot war in Taiwan. They'll start the hot war in the Ukraine, and they'll do one in the Middle East. So when Trump walks in, then they have plenty of time to do this, folks. I'm glad they at least decided not to do it while I was overseas. Although it probably would have been better because I could have gotten to a confessional faster. But the fact of the matter is, they get plenty of time to blow this stuff up in with Trump incoming. All right. So don't think they're not done yet because they have plenty of time to do so.
Well, if that does happen, at least we got on the good side, Trump will remove all trainees from military on day one. So.
At least 15,000 of them, at least 15,000. And the thing is, I was listening, it was on the same podcast I was listening to this morning. It actually makes perfect sense because the idea behind the military is not individualism. The idea behind the military is that, the Marines, if any Marines are listening, please correct me if I'm wrong. There's not black Marines. There's not white Marines. There's only green Marines. Mm-hmm. There's one unit. When you're on the boat, when you're in the sub, it's not, everybody and the one flaming homosexual. It's everybody's moving in a unit as a team, and there's no time for individualism. In fact, that's what the military does. It strips you of that so you work as a unit. And
so the fact is, a haircut, everyone has the same
all that stuff. It's designed to strip that away so you can be an effective unit at killing people. And it's not this idea where you get to express yourself and cut off your nuts and bolts because you feel like it. And so everybody has to pay attention to that. The last thing I need is some guy who needs a catheter to go out into the field and try to fight for me. And they always give these moronic arguments. Some guy was giving this moron, well, what if this jacked guy who's just like a beast and he kills everybody and he looks at his company, he's like, but I feel like a woman. And then they keep, first of all, he wouldn't do that. No, if he was this massively masculine guy, he wouldn't think he was a woman. Because if he did, he wouldn't be able to do anything like that.
Especially in the middle of a gunfight.
Right. He's not going to be in the middle of a gun. Hey guys, I think I feel like a chick today. Like that's not how it works.
Speaking
of,
it's
not a bad idea to strip. And this all started with the women, should women be in the military? Maybe in selective roles, definitely not frontline stuff, because there's a whole, and if you've been in the military, you know anybody in the military and you're listening, you'll probably understand what I'm talking about. The whole issue with women and men in close proximity and the amount of domestic abuse cases that are brought against men because women are caught with men in barracks and they don't want to lose reputation. So what they do is they claim a certain thing and it destroys so many careers. That's a big thing. Women get pregnant right before they get deployed and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't get deployed now because I'm pregnant. Like, oh, good. I'm glad we spent $2 million making you into a soldier. And now we can't put you into the field that we need you because you're pregnant. And the idea was, this was where I'll be back in 2016, 17, when they were trying to open up the military for more jobs. They turned the military into a jobs program and they wanted to fill it, the career program. And that's fine. If you want to be a career, a person who was in the Marines or the Navy and you want to do it as a career, that's fine. As a dude, that's great. You can support a family, blah, blah, blah. But they just opened it up to be jobs. Hey, we have jobs for men. And it lost the focus of, and folks, I'm a guy who believes in the original intent of the Second Amendment, which was for militia, so you didn't have to have standing armies, because standing armies are bad, because look what we're doing throughout the rest of the world, because we have a standing army. You use them. Exactly. And so this stems all the way. The thing about when you know history and you know how these things work, everybody's like, how do we have trainees in the military today? Hey, guys, it started 10 years ago when they let women into different positions, when they expanded that stuff out. Once they expanded that stuff out and they degraded the idea of a unit and they allowed the idea of individualism to fester like a sore in these areas. Now you have this type of stuff. And it's great that, Pete, and I feel bad for Hexick, right? The guy who he's actually a victim. It looks like from the police reports, folks. Now I only know what the police reports tell me, that he's a victim of some kind of encounter with a married woman. And now he's got to deal with that. So we'll find all about that at his confirmation hearing, but he seems like the kind of guy that understands what the military is supposed to be used for.
Well, speaking of the LGBTQRSTUV platform, Canada is having this. It's not just the USA thing. An Ontario town was fined $10,000 for refusing to celebrate Pride Month.
Yeah. I mean, this is the problem. And this is what I've been saying for 3 or 4 years. Guys, yes, does the LGBT MAP movement, does it look like it's saturating because they're pushing too hard, too fast to try and make it one homogeneous, sorry for the term, homogeneous way of thinking within society? They wanted everybody to accept it. But guess what? Society doesn't do that, especially when it's against the natural order. And so people will
be the good trannies. Here's the good trannies.
Yeah, right. The good ones. Hey, there's the few. He's going to run for governor. He, she, whatever the hell he is going to run for governor of California now because, hey, it's cool. By the way, who else? Guys, everybody in that picture that's a Republican is just a liberal. They're all just liberals.
And that's the thing with the modern conservative is actually a liberal from pretty much the 1920s, 1930s, anything like this.
Mm-hmm. That's what Trump is. Trump's a 1980s Democrat.
Right.
There's nothing, a little harder on immigration. But if you actually look at Obama's speeches from 2008, he sounds exactly like Trump. He sounds exactly like Trump in 2008. It's just after he got in, he changed the tune.
Remember the speech that you mentioned? You brought up Obama. He mentioned in his was it acceptance speech when he said we're going to change America. We're going to fundamentally change.
Oh, fundamental change.
That's straight.
Fundamental transformation. Fundamental transformation.
That's straight out of Reconstruction again. You're reconstructing they reconstructed the South in there. You're reconstructing everything up here, and that's again Well, like Rage Against the Machine, McClanahan brings this up. Those who bring forces are the same that burn crosses. When they equal the police, anybody that doesn't believe your way, you're a Klan, you're a Nazi, you're this, you're that, you're that. You don't see it my way. Well, you know what? You're this, and that's when Michelle comes out. I'm finally proud of my being American or something like that. They were taught all these years to hate what here is, and everything stinks and everything's bad and it's bad. Oh, this is terrible because they've been handed down from generation to generation from the greatest generation ever, and they admit that they screwed up with their kids. But those guys that say they knew they screwed up with their kids went woo cuckoo, and then those kids are now the ones that you see walking around Walmart with a comfy dog or whatever they call them. It's not
those are emotional support dogs.
Yes, the emotional support dog. You're like, how do I talk to, or having the dog in their basket? Here's my baby. Can I see the dad? In Cuckoo Town. It's all stems from these guys just gradually, and he even brings up, how do you fix that outside of, which goes back into the local thing, idea. Oh, we just got to get DC right. No. Just if you don't get the schools fixed or eliminate or get those schools fixed, you're never going to win this cultural war. You can have all these laws and we're going to get this. And just like how in this one, he brings up about, if you don't get the states behind you, if you want to try a national ban and you don't have the states behind you on that, it's nothing. You got a toothless document. But
that's what I cannot stand dummy gun guys right now who are cheering on Trump, being like, I'm going to do the National Reciprocity Act. Wherever there's the National Reciprocity Act, and then there's just the National Concealed Carry Act. And Massey's the one who put this one out, which is kind of crazy. The Reciprocity Act says every state has to accept your concealed carry handgun license, which is stupid because the minute you roll into California, if I roll into California with my Texas LTC under this law, they're going to arrest me and they're going to be like, somebody's going to have to bail you out because we're not following that. Same thing with the National Concealed Carry. Why are we so obsessed about that stuff? It's stupid because we already know. We know for a fact that the blue states are just going to, you cannot force these people to get to operate under the same laws you do because they don't believe in them. They don't believe in them. So it's stupid to even do it that way.
That's why that's why they built this on federalism. You want to live New Mexico, whatever state, New Hampshire wants to live this way. Guess what? New Hampshire lives that way. Move out of New Hampshire if you don't like it, or fix it internally converted, which we should do anyways. Or if you're in Georgia, South Carolina, whatever. If you don't like this stuff in South Carolina, move to Boston, move to Massachusetts. You don't like Massachusetts? Get out of Massachusetts.
Go to New Hampshire like everybody else. You don't like Massachusetts? Be like everybody else in New England and go to New Hampshire.
Oh, wait, update on the Zelensky war. He's prepared to end the Ukraine war in exchange for NATO status, even if Russia doesn't immediately give back some land. So stay tuned. If it gets hot outside, which it's kind of cold down in my neck of the woods right now, you know what it is.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous.
I will say Thomas Massey's probably the only one that's not like the rest. He came up with this great line.
No, that's why I was a little shocked that Massey came up with that. But I mean, it is.
Well, he's not perfect. He's still in the body of the beast. But this is a good idea about we don't need a 2-state solution. We just need the 50-state solution, which again goes back to why 50? Why not 100? Why not 150? I mean, you could chop this bad boy up all over the place. And you know what would bring? Peace, probably prosperity. A lot of people won't be as angry as they are anymore. Now you'll still get the guy up in Jersey or something like that to go, I can't sleep at night knowing that George is not killing people, killing their babies or anything like that. We need to somehow, California. By the way, you talked about the triangulation maybe from the Democrats. I mean, they might bring in a gruesome Newsom. He's got the charismatic personality.
He's got a great smile. And
great smile, looks good on TV.
He's a good-looking dude with a great smile, and he's a slick talker. 90% of the time, that wins you an election. Look what happened there.
You'll have him. You'll probably have AOC. She's good. She's good looking. She may not be the.
She's going to be a mom by this point. I'm telling you, she's pregnant. She's going to be a mom by the time she runs. You've heard everybody speculating about it. Let me get it out there. The reason why she got the chubby cheeks right now is because she's pregnant. She hadn't told anybody yet, but it's clear as day. She's either that or she's transitioning into her abuela mode. I don't think she's doing that yet. I think she's pregnant. She's going to be a mama by that time, which is always more attractive because families that was one big thing that Kamala couldn't have, is that she had stepkids. And a lot of people didn't like the fact that she didn't have kids of her own, while Trump has he has 5 kids and 14 grandkids. So that was, it was something like that. Like Carrie, one of his grandkids was going to Miami, the golfer girl. She's now a hit with everybody because, she's young and charismatic and she's good at golf and she's a Trump. So she's obviously got that charisma and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so it is one of those things. Yeah, they'll have Newsom, they'll have AOC. It won't be Kamala. Kamala will be teaching at some historically backed college university by then. She'll be gone. She will not be. She will be drinking all the Hennessy she wants and stumbling through classes. It doesn't even matter at this point. She'll write 2 or 3 books. She'll be great. It'll be fine. Don't cry for Kamala. She willingly took the bullet on this one because she knew she doesn't like folks. She never liked politics. It was just something for her to do. So she just gracefully exits her and just goes out of there.
Here's a CNN on the picks.
Point out is that in the CBS News YouGov poll that was released this morning, 60% of the American people approve of the way Donald Trump is handling his transition so far. So with all the picks and all the news that's come out of Mar-a-Lago, there is widespread approval from the American people that, hey, it seems like it's going okay. We need a couple of years of political peace in this country. When Donald Trump got elected, there was no peace, and it was constant dragging him down and investigations that were bogus and so on and so forth. This government needs to be allowed to operate. Republicans won the election. They have the presidency, they have the House, they have the Senate. Democrats need to fall in line here a little bit. They could be loyal opposition, but that doesn't mean you have to be totally obstructive. I think if they are, it's going to hurt them politically. The American people said...
They've done that before when they've had all 3 and nothing gets done. By the way, here's some of the picks. Latest ones, new Surgeon General, pretty much a female Fauci.
Oh, yeah, she is. She is all about it. She is all about it. Of course, it falls into it. Folks, don't get mad at me. Trump has a type. He just likes being around. He likes being around good-looking women all day. That's
those are good-looking Zionists. That's for darn.
Yeah, he doesn't even give it. What are you? I don't even care. You're good looking. Come in. You're a doctor. Would you play one on TV? Don't care. Come on. Like you nominated Dr. Ross.
Matt Gaetz. He's gone because he didn't swear allegiance to IAPAC, wherever you pronounce it. And so they get the lady from Florida, who's
once again Trump has a type.
Card-carrying Zionist.
And she's an anti-gunner. She was all about red flag laws. After she and Rick Scott got the red flag laws pushed through in Florida, so she's like the worst you could put in there if you're a gun person. I'll
let Kerry go over it a little bit more.
The one man who can take down the establishment.
He took the advice of a lot of people who are the swamp creatures of Washington. Telling him, here's who you need to have in this position. Here's who you need to have in that position.
I picked a few people that I shouldn't have picked. And
neocons?
Yeah, neocons or bad people.
But this time it's different. No more deep state, no more neocons, and no more foreign interests ahead of America's. I can stop paying attention now. Daddy Trump and the America First regime have got everything under control. We've got National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, a neocon Mike Pompeo approved Bush administration alumni who served Donald Rumsfeld, Robert Gates, and Dick Cheney. Then there's Pompeo approved UN Ambassador Elise Stefanik, who also got her start in the Bush administration. She's so MAGA, she even received the Dr. Miriam and Sheldon Adelson Defender of America. Defender of Israel Award. But we've got John Ratcliffe at the CIA. Another anti-establishment, Pompeo approved Bush alumni who went into business with Patriot Act pusher Bush Attorney General John Ashcroft. He also worked at a strategy firm launched by members of the intelligence community to serve industries like defense, technology, and aerospace. Hold on. There's Marco Rubio, the Israel First war hawk who props up the toxic corporate sugar welfare program, Mahare, and is a top-tier proponent of perpetual American empire. These neocons have all spent time in Congress, and they all voted to fund perpetual war, extend mass surveillance, fund a brutal foreign regime in perpetuity and without limit, keep piling on to the national debt, and were all funded by deeply entrenched special interests during their time in office. Honorable mentions include establishment-endorsed Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who worked with George Soros, who then put $2 billion into Bessent's hedge fund venture, Secretary of Commerce and co-chair of Trump's transition team Howard Lutnick, whose firm is one of the elite financial institutions licensed by the Federal Reserve of New York to trade in government government securities. Susie Wiles, who's leaving a lobbying firm that represents some of the most toxic food brands and one of the worst pharmaceutical companies in America, to be chief of staff. She personally lobbied for a company that, among other things, makes ingredients for herbicides and pesticides, as well as the Motion Picture Association of America, corporate Hollywood's lobbying organization. Another lobbyist, Pam Bondi, from Wiles' previous lobbying firm Ballard, is the pick for Attorney General. She's lobbied the U.S. government for a variety of special interests, including a repressive, autocratic regime. She's called for gun control, loves Israel, and believes the government has a right to punish speech. A whole smattering of establishment medical authorities. And Brian Hook leading the State Department transition team. His resume includes working for the Bush administration and as a policy advisor to neocon Pompeo. But there's Pete Hesgat. He's not a politician or a member of the swamp. He's a pundit for the corporate mainstream media and can often be found promoting militarism.
There's merit in a preemptive strike. They ought to get more missiles like that, and we probably shouldn't tell the world about it.
And simping for Israel.
There's no reason why the miracle of the reestablishment of the temple on the Temple Mount is not possible.
But we've got Elon and Vivek at the Department of Government Efficiency. Oh, it appears it'll have no enforcement power, and the guy heading and promoting it is deep in defense and intelligence welfare, while the other guy founded and still owns part of a company that's deep in business with establishment institutions, including Palantir, one of the most establishment deep state contractors in American history, whose founder mentored and propped up the vice president-elect. While you get drunk and distracted on a few seemingly anti-establishment figures, the new regime is stacking up the same old swamp with allegiance to a foreign regime. And my guess is the Trump team is well aware of this hypocrisy, or they wouldn't have announced Gabbard at the same time as Rubio. Acknowledging this is not cynical or black-pilled. It's actually the ultimate white pill to recognize that yet again, politicians' actions fail to live up to their rhetoric, which should free you once and for all from their propaganda and narratives and inspire you to start taking responsibility for yourself instead of waiting for brazenly establishment authoritarians to come save you.
I don't know if I can say it any better.
There you are. Yeah, I mean, my only thing is, could she like wear a sweater? I don't know why she's got to dress like a French maid.
That's her shtick. I didn't get it. I know, but
I mean, the content's good. It's just I'm distracted. Like, is she the lady from Clue? Like, I don't understand. She's a vet, the maid.
And she's a former Obama zombie.
Yeah, wow.
She came out of Obama tricked her into believing and falling for her. She was one of those flag wearing Obama people, and they came out going, "Wait a minute, nothing's changed. It's actually gotten worse." And then you started saying, "You see, this is what comes out of it." It was all that stuff like that. You're getting played, and no one wants to hear it. No one wants to see it. You stick your head and say, "I got a guy." There's a guy on Facebook all the time. Look how great these are, dude. Great. What do you mean? And DOG is going to save us. DOGE is going to save us. They got no power. RFK, I love what he's talking about, but he's got zero power, zero authority. I mean, they made him sit there with the McDonald's stuff. He actually had a thing we talked about last time. He came out saying, "Yeah, it's poison." I mean, what is he going to do? Say no? They're going to throw him off the plane? Maybe. I don't know. He's not going to be part of the group anymore.
No.
And you see, they got Jiminy Jabbers in there with them. It was almost like, "Hey, Bobby, come over here and sit down right here. This is how we're going to work it out. You're going to love this."
Yeah. I mean,
maybe they showed him the video and he goes, "Wait a minute, where'd that video come from? Of his uncle or his dad or Robert the first one? Where'd you get that?" "Yeah, play the game or this is you." It's bad up in DC.
Nothing ever changes, folks, which is why the local is always the superior solution. It just is how it is at this point. So with that, I think it's going to be time for us to wrap up this episode of News from the Pew. We already know who my cry room is. It's the Vatican for not having luce dolls available for me when I was flying over to Rome. Tisk on you. But I'm going to give a positive. I have a very good cry room. I mean, a good saint of the week. And that is the people who actually restored the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. I'm sure you guys have seen pictures of that. Outside of, yes, the weird altar. Yeah, I get the weird altar and some of the weird stuff. But the fact is they didn't put a glass roof on there. They didn't do any of the crazy stuff that they were talking about. They did as best they could with, we don't have the ability. We don't have the craftsmen to build like they did back then. Also, it was built over hundreds of years and they were able to do it in a couple. And they restored it to a very, it is grand as it should be. So I'm not going to be one of those people who's going to be like, oh, it doesn't look like they did the way, and what about the, all right, the altar will be removed within 50 years. It's not going to be there for long. That's why it's, temporary. And the wood chairs, all that stuff's going to get removed, and it'll be restored to its, of course, permanent glory eventually. But the fact is, it came out the other side looking very similar to what it was beforehand. And the crazy thing is the fact that they gave it a better lighting system and they cleaned it. That's why it doesn't look the same as it does now as the old Notre Dame, is because it had centuries of just dirt and dust and things like that had accumulated, and they only had a lighting system on the very, very bottom, so the top part couldn't be illuminated. Now they have a better lighting system in there, so it actually feels grander than it does. So, big shout out to the French actually getting that right, because there was a time where they were going to put like a pool up there. They were going to put like an eco garden or like a glass roof. And the fact that they didn't do any of that and they just rebuilt it as best they could, that's a win. I will take the win on that.
I'll go with I'll go crime room first. The first climate lockdown happened last week in Spain. You see this, there's you can't hear the audio. That cop is going by telling people to stay inside between hours, something to something, 6 to 6, saying you're under a climate lockdown. So what they had these gigantic floods in Spain last week, probably cloud seeding. When you're not supposed to care about that or know about that. England had the same thing. Here's a video of England. And I mean, every time I see something like this, I always look up cloud seeding, England. And just like Spain, they actually did the southeastern part. The storm was going up there and just dumped a lot. Now there's they got rid of a lot of dams that's been around for centuries there. So that did play a part in it too for where it flooded. But same thing, they end up getting a lot more water out of it than before, which I put in the crime room, because there are still people out there that, even if you look in the sky and go, hey, let me put an X in quadrant right there and let's play we can play air tic-tac-toe, they'll still say, oh, that's normal. I've had many guys, that's normal. Oh, yeah, there's literally an X in the sky. That's normal. It
is. Don't question it.
Write your name up there. That's normal.
Don't question it. Don't question it, man.
Don't question it. I'll go on a little funny joke-wise. The Saint of the Week, I'll go with the Korean Starbucks in South Korea, unless their customers watch the North through binoculars. I was going for some giggles. That's sorry.
That's fine. I mean, hey,
there's some good commercials out. I mean, there was a couple of pro-life commercials. There's a pro-family commercial.
The Volvo? Are you talking about the Volvo one?
Yeah, the Volvo one. I think you brought that up last week.
Yeah. Well, I think Volvo paid Jaguar like $4 or $5 million to release their ad first. So that way everybody was like, wow, that Volvo ad was so great, just because in contrast how terrible the Jaguar one was. But they're both still, I mean, actually, it's kind of funny because the German auto industry is just falling apart right now. And the auto industry is facing a huge, I don't want to get into this right now because we're about to end the show. Maybe talk about this next time. But the sudden push for EVs and how spectacularly it's failed has pushed the auto industry in a very precarious spot. And I don't really care because they tried to do it. So good for them.
There's been a couple of flips. I think California had an election just end or counted 3 weeks later. Here in North Carolina, the Supreme Court lady finally got the right number of votes for that 3 weeks later. So
yeah. Yep. And there's nothing you're going to be able to do about any of that until you're able to get control of your local government again to fix it. That's it. I mean, until then, it's just going to be what it is. So anyway. Yeah. Well, that's it for this episode of News from the View, folks. Thank you for hanging out with us on this Black Friday special. Please like, subscribe, and share the News from the Pew. We will talk to you all next week. God bless, and Viva Cristo Rey.
A new ruling could affect the way you cast your vote in this year's election. Voters in states across the country are being warned that ballots flushed down the toilet will no longer be counted. The U.S. Election Assistance Commission is reminding Americans that, quote, to ensure the integrity of the upcoming elections, beginning tomorrow, we will not consider ballots sent in via the nation's sewage system valid. Election advocates say the decision to block flush-in voting this late in the election could confuse millions of older voters who have long relied on the method and disenfranchise those who simply prefer the ease of voting while on a toilet seat.